Living in Britain feels like living inside a time capsule that somehow works perfectly in the modern world. It's calm, polite, and oddly organized, but beneath that surface, there's a deep sense of tradition that shapes almost everything. To an outsider, some of these customs can feel, well, a little insane. But to the British, they're part of daily life, comforting, logical, and steeped in history. If you've ever moved here, you'll know the feeling. One day you're just trying to buy milk, and suddenly you're part of a centuries-old ritual you didn't even know existed. From tea obsession to royal pageantry, there are things in the UK that make every immigrant quietly think, what on earth is going on here? Today, we'll explore 10 British traditions that most immigrants find strange, confusing, or downright unbelievable at first. By the end, you'll understand why these habits exist, why they matter so much to locals, and why the UK wouldn't be the UK without them. Number 1. The ritual of the kettle. You can live in Britain for decades and still underestimate how much power a simple cup of tea holds. It's not a drink, it's a national coping mechanism. Tea punctuates the British day like clockwork. Morning tea, afternoon tea, the emergency tea after bad news. It's the quiet companion to every emotion, grief, joy, boredom, or shock. When someone says, "I'll put the kettle on," it's not really about caffeine. It's a coded phrase for comfort, for connection, for, let's steady ourselves. It means something went wrong, or something big is about to be discussed. The act itself, the ritual of boiling water, pouring, stirring, waiting, creates a sense of calm that the world outside can't disturb. People joke about it, but tea is serious business. The mug matters. The brand matters. The strength matters. It's not snobbery, it's precision, the same way other cultures treat coffee or wine. Immigrants notice it instantly. The British can disagree about almost anything, politics, football, the weather forecast, but everyone knows how to make tea properly. That shared understanding is its own kind of national unity. In a country where the weather is unpredictable, the trains unreliable, and the headlines exhausting, tea stays constant. It's control in liquid form. A small ritual that says, no matter what happens, you can still put the kettle on, take a breath, and carry on. Number 2. The sacred line, a religion of patience. No one on earth queues like the British. It isn't a habit. It's a quiet act of national discipline. The queue is order made visible. Everyone knows their place. No pushing, no shouting, no negotiation. Just silent agreement that fairness depends on patience. Cut in line, and you won't hear complaints, only feel the collective disapproval, as sharp as any word. To outsiders, it can look almost comical, this devotion to standing in line. But for the British, it's deeper than politeness. It's a social contract. The queue keeps the peace in a crowded country. It ensures that chaos stays outside the circle. The roots go back to the wartime years, when rationing demanded calm cooperation. Standing in line wasn't etiquette, it was survival. That instinct never disappeared. It turned into reflex, a shared belief that patience keeps society civil. Immigrants learn it fast. You might not master the accent or the slang right away, but if you respect the queue, you're halfway to belonging. The queue represents something larger about Britain. A nation that values quiet order over loud ambition, structure over spontaneity. If you ever want to blend in completely, skip the weather chat. Just stand in line, wait your turn, and keep calm. Number 3. The art of saying nothing. In Britain, small talk isn't small, it's social architecture, a quiet bridge between strangers who'd rather not build a full one. Every culture has its way of managing space between people. In the UK, that space is padded with light conversation. It protects privacy while keeping civility intact. You don't talk to connect deeply, you talk to keep things comfortably distant. The weather is the classic refuge. Cloudy, sunny, raining, it doesn't matter. It's the safest topic in the world. Everyone has an opinion, and none of them will offend. It's how people say, I see you, I respect you, but we'll leave it at that. To outsiders, it can sound shallow, but it's anything but. It's emotional restraint in verbal form. British small talk keeps the rhythm of public life smooth. It prevents strangers from feeling like intruders. It lets everyone belong without exposure. It's a code built on subtlety, not silence. The right tone matters more than the words. A small comment about the drizzle might carry a whole message: patience, humor, or even sympathy. Once you understand that, you stop waiting for big talk. You start hearing the warmth behind the understatement. The genius of British small talk isn't in what's spoken. It's in a calm understanding of what doesn't need to be said. Number 4. The pub culture. Walk into a British pub and you're stepping into something older than it looks. It isn't just a place to drink. It's a space where time slows down, and hierarchy fades. Everyone is equal at the bar. The pub holds a special kind of warmth, one that doesn't need noise to feel alive. It's the meeting point between solitude and society. People come not just to drink, but to exist together without demand. You can sit alone for an hour, and no one will ask why. Or you can strike up a quiet conversation that turns into a lifelong friendship. For generations, the pub has been where life happens between the big events. Births are toasted there. Losses are mourned there. Arguments begin and end there. It's the social glue of British life, holding together people who might never otherwise cross paths. Immigrants often see the pub as a cultural puzzle. Why meet in a dim, crowded room when you could talk anywhere else? But for the British, that's the point. The pub isn't about the setting, it's about the ritual. The familiar smell of beer, the hum of low conversation, the sound of glasses meeting, its comfort in repetition. In a country where emotions are often held back, the pub gives permission to let the edges soften. You can laugh louder. You can tell the truth. You can stop pretending for a while. Every community has one pub that feels like home. Its walls hold memories, its regulars carry stories. The names of the drinks may change, but the purpose never does. The pub is Britain's living room, shared, worn, and always open. Number 5. The emotional forecast. Weather obsession. At first, you think it's just a cliché, the British and their endless talk about the weather. But then you live here, and it starts to make perfect sense. The weather is more than conversation. It's the nation's emotional language. Britain's climate changes by the hour. One moment sun, the next a downpour. It keeps everyone slightly uncertain, slightly prepared. Talking about it is a way of staying grounded in that uncertainty. It gives people a shared rhythm, a common mood. But beneath the surface, it's something deeper. The weather allows emotional honesty in a culture that values composure. It's a safe space for feeling. When someone says, "It's dreadful out there," they might be hinting at more than the rain. When they say, "It's finally brightening up," they might mean more than the sky. For the British, the forecast is never just about clouds or sunshine. It's about connection. The weather is the perfect middle ground, personal enough to mean something, impersonal enough to stay polite. Outsiders often miss that. They hear idle chatter. What they don't hear is the quiet empathy built into it. The shared sigh on a gray morning. The lifted tone on the first warm day of spring. It's how a restrained society says, "I feel it too." The weather keeps Britain emotionally balanced. It's how people check in with each other without breaking the unspoken rule of restraint. In a way, every British conversation carries its own forecast, cloudy with a chance of feeling. Number 6. The royal family and ceremonial traditions. For anyone new to Britain, the monarchy can feel like a mystery that refuses to fade. You see crowds lining the streets in the rain, waving flags, eyes fixed on a passing car. It looks ancient, theatrical, almost unreal. Yet it still moves people in a way politics never can. The royal family sits at the center of a national story that's more emotional than rational. It represents continuity in a world that changes too fast. Even those who criticize it often admit they'd miss it if it vanished. The pageantry, the ceremonies, the familiar faces, they give shape to something the country rarely says out loud: belonging. For many Britons, the monarchy is not about authority but identity. It's a link to a past that still feels alive. The uniforms, the processions, the bells and trumpets, they are reminders that this small island once ruled half the world and now carries that history with quiet endurance. To outsiders, it can look outdated. But that's the point. In a culture that avoids extremes, tradition becomes comfort. It offers stability when modern life feels rootless. The royal events, whether grand or simple, are collective pauses in time, moments when millions breathe together. Immigrants often find themselves watching with detached curiosity, then gradually with understanding. Because what they're seeing isn't power on display. It's continuity dressed as ceremony. The monarchy endures not because of what it does, but because of what it represents, a thread connecting memory to the present, and the people to each other. It's not about the crown itself. It's about the quiet reassurance that some symbols, however old, still mean something. Number 7. The quiet walls of respect. Privacy in Britain isn't a preference. It's a principle. You feel it the moment you arrive. The fences are tall, the curtains drawn, and the conversations politely limited. It isn't coldness. It's consideration. This restraint grew from life on a crowded island. People learn to create space not with distance, but with discretion. You don't intrude. You don't pry. You give others the dignity of being left alone. It's how peace is kept in a society that values composure over curiosity. To many immigrants, it feels unusual at first. In cultures where warmth means openness, surface, British privacy can seem like a wall. But in time, you realize it's not rejection. It's trust expressed quietly. The silence between people isn't empty. It's respectful. Neighbors may exchange polite greetings for years without ever crossing thresholds, yet they'll check your bins when you're away. They'll clear your drive in the snow. They help through action, not conversation. In Britain, friendship grows slowly. You earn it through consistency, not intensity. Once you're let in, the quiet disappears, replaced by loyalty that doesn't need words. This love of privacy is woven into daily life, from closed doors to careful phrasing. It's how people protect harmony in a world that prizes exposure. Silence here doesn't signal distance. It signals understanding. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is simply let someone be. Number 8. Bank holidays and the art of doing nothing. Few things reveal the British spirit like a bank holiday. On paper, it's a simple public day off. In practice, it's a national ritual, a brief suspension of routine, guilt-free and universally respected. The British have mastered the art of treating an ordinary Monday like a quiet festival. Trains run slower, shops open later, and entire towns exhale. Even the weather seems in on the joke, often turning grey the moment plans begin. But no one truly minds. There's comfort in the predictability of disappointment. Barbecues appear under drizzle. Families pack for seaside trips that end in wind and sandwiches in the car. Couples walk through muddy parks pretending it's spring. It's collective optimism, performed with dry humor and quiet pride. To outsiders, this devotion to leisure looks strange. Why put so much effort into doing nothing? But in Britain, the answer is simple. It's about rhythm. The same culture that works diligently and complains modestly needs moments of sanctioned stillness. A reminder that life isn't just about progress, it's about pause. The bank holiday is rebellion disguised as relaxation. It's the refusal to let work own every hour. A shared agreement that, for one day, productivity can wait. And when it ends, everyone sighs, checks the calendar, and counts the days to the next one. Because in Britain, even rest has its traditions, and doing nothing, properly, is taken very seriously. Number 9. The culture of sorry. Apologizing in Britain isn't about fault. It's about harmony. The word sorry works like social glue, smoothing over every small clash before it becomes conflict. You hear it everywhere, like background music to daily life. Someone steps on your foot, and both of you say sorry. You reach for the same packet in a shop, and you both retreat with matching apologies. It's not remorse. It's rhythm. A polite acknowledgement that space is shared and no one wants to disturb the balance. To newcomers, it feels excessive at first. Why apologize for things that aren't your fault? But over time, it starts to make sense. Sorry is the British way of saying, I see you. I respect the boundary. It's less about words and more about keeping the peace without drama. This habit runs so deep it becomes reflex. You'll find yourself saying sorry to a lamppost after bumping into it, and somehow it feels right. It's not weakness, it's social awareness, a soft skill dressed as politeness. The constant apologies aren't about insecurity, they're about empathy. In a culture that avoids confrontation, sorry is how people show care without getting personal. It's humility turned into habit. When you start doing it without noticing, murmuring apologies to the bus driver, the queue, the rain, that's when you've quietly crossed over. You haven't just learned the language, you've learned the tone of the nation. Number 10. The love for tradition itself. Britain doesn't just keep traditions, it collects them. Every season, every region, every household has its own small ritual, often performed without question, but always with meaning. From fireworks lighting the November sky on bonfire night to the pop of Christmas crackers around crowded tables, tradition weaves through the year like a steady heartbeat. Some customs go back centuries, others were invented in someone's kitchen a few years ago, yet all are treated with the same quiet reverence. At first, it can feel puzzling to outsiders. Why follow so many rules for fun? Why keep old habits alive in a modern world? But after a while, you begin to see the logic. Tradition gives rhythm to life. It makes time feel structured, familiar, and shared. In a society that values stability, these rituals are the anchors. A Boxing Day walk through muddy fields. Pancakes in February. Tea at 4. These aren't grand gestures, they're small acts of continuity. They remind people that even when the world shifts, something still stays the same. For immigrants, this devotion to routine becomes oddly comforting. You start off watching from the outside, unsure whether to join in. Then one day you realize you already have. You're stirring your tea just right, planning your weekend around the next bank holiday, and smiling when someone mentions the usual. Tradition here isn't nostalgia, it's quiet defiance. It says, we've survived everything, and we're still having tea. It's a celebration of persistence in polite disguise. So, are these British traditions strange? Absolutely, but they're also what make Britain feel like home. Living here as an outsider means slowly learning a language that isn't spoken but lived. You start out confused by the tea obsession, the endless apologies, the cues that stretch to nowhere. But then you realize every habit carries meaning. Every ritual holds a piece of history. You begin to mirror them without thinking. Saying sorry when someone else bumps into you. Checking the weather as if it's breaking news. Knowing that no matter how chaotic the world gets, the kettle will always boil. That's the quiet magic of Britain. The oddities aren't barriers, they're invitations. If you've lived here long enough, you stop asking questions. You just join in, gently, naturally, until the rhythm feels like your own. And when it does, you finally understand what this island really runs on. Not power, not progress, but small, beautiful acts of consistency. If you enjoyed exploring the quirks that shape British life, subscribe for more stories that dive into the human side of culture, the habits, histories, and hidden meanings that make every place unique. Because understanding Britain isn't about learning the rules, it's about feeling the rhythm that lives beneath them.